Hi, I'm Jimmy Noble with the Noble Group, and I wanted to go over showings. So we've already had our initial buyer consultation. We've sat at the big screen monitors and picked properties together, so we're actually out on the street looking at the homes. And I wanted to go over a couple of pointers to give you a hand, hopefully explain a little bit of the process, take some of the burden off of you so that you feel comfortable about the process. That's what we're here for. That's what it's all about, is to make sure that that you feel comfortable with the step that you're in the process of and knowing what the next step is going to be. So here's what I've found. In my experience, our clients in the past really like when we go and look at, 2 houses at a time, 3 houses at a time, 4 houses at a time, because the reason why, so pick 2 to 4 houses for each time you're out looking at them. Reason why you want to do that is because if you look at 10, you're talking about an event that takes so long you can't remember. By the time you're in your 8th, 9th house, you can't remember whether the second house was the one that you had the kitchen that you liked or whether it was the 5th house. They all just blend together and you're going to be tired and wishing you were back home. So 2 to 4 houses at a showing. That way you don't get overwhelmed. You're going to have a sheet for each of the properties. So let's just imagine you go into house number 1. We're going to talk about establishing a baseline. You don't really have anything to compare house number 1 to because that's probably the first one that you went in that met your criteria and your price range. So just keep that as baseline. You're going to finish that showing. You're going to go to house number 2. Well, house number 1 is really fresh in your head, and you're in house number 2, so you got 2 sheets in your hand essentially. And this is all about establishing your baseline. Is essentially all about passing on the stuff that you don't want. So if house number 1 was much better than house number 2, take that sheet for number 2 and just pass it to the side. Don't keep it in your inventory because you're going to get so overwhelmed with these sheets that it's not even funny. So now let's make the assumption that house number 2 is a lot better than house number 1. You like it more. Keep that in your hand because that's one you like more, establishes a new baseline for you, and pass house number 1 to the side. No sense carrying around all kinds of extra paperwork to just get convoluted and make you miss out on the stuff that you got in front of you that you like, your hot list. And do that throughout the process. You're going to find that stuff's going to be fresher in your head. There's no sense keeping around a ton of sheets for properties that you don't want to buy because they don't compare to what's in your hand. Right? So that's what establishing your baseline. Also, wanted to talk to you about not feeling pressured or rushed. At the end of the day, when you walk into the house that is right for you, that meets your criteria, you're going to know it. And we found time and time again, ask your relatives, friends, grandparents, co-workers, brothers, sisters. When you go into the house that meets your criteria, it's a place that you want to be, you're going to know it. It's not going to be a question. And at that time, go ahead and just let our buyer's agent know. When you find the right one, let our buyer's agent know so that we can move forward in regards to doing what we need to do to help you get it. So now let's make the assumption that you go out and you look at those homes and none of them meet your criteria. Well, you're there with our buyer's agent right now. You didn't find a house that works for you. You're both face to face. Go on and book your next set of outings. Your next scheduled time to meet up at properties and preview them to see if it works. And it can be the next day, a couple days out, the next weekend, and that way it'll allow from the time that our buyer rep leaves until that time for our buyer's rep to go back and forth with you and find properties that meet that criteria and set them up for that next outing. So the whole idea behind this is make sure you don't get overwhelmed, to make sure you establish a baseline, and to make sure you're comfortable with the process moving forward. And that's pretty much it. And remember, if you got any questions, it's not a hard process, not a complicated process, but it's got a heck of a lot of steps nowadays. So if you've got a question about any of those steps, or if there's a property on the market that you got a question about and you're watching this right now, give us a call. The number's 1-888-205-7773, or you can always visit us and shoot us an email from thenoblegroup.org. Thanks so much, and have a great day.